laid his hand upon him. I mentioned last week and I asked the question, are you alive? You say, well, I got up and breathed this morning and everything's okay, I think. But are you alive? Interesting question. One that we need to answer. So I think about this passage, and then we'll be looking at 1 Samuel 7 as we continue our study in 1 Samuel. And I'll be reading verses 1 through 13. And I pretty much sum up this chapter as contains 3 challenges to Israel and to any man, church, or country that desires to have a spiritual life revived. We often hear the word revival. There should be a revival. We should need to do a revival. And I go by these signs outside of churches, and they're saying we have revival meetings and so forth. Well, my friends, and I want you to understand this, I want you to grasp this, and this is from your pastor, and this is where I stand in the definition of revival. If you want revival, then expect a social and culture change. Revivals don't happen unless there's a social and a cultural change. And it has to start first with the churches. And that's my definition of revival. These churches say they have revival meetings. No, they really don't have revival meetings because everybody that comes to them are basically people that had already attended church. Revival is supposed to change the culture and the social. My friends, if it doesn't change within the church, then it's not going to change outside of the walls. And if it doesn't change in people's lives and hearts, it doesn't change outside of these walls. It has to start with you and me. The sad thing is we read all about and heard about all these riots go on because of this and that and so forth. But the sad part is, I'll bet you half of them were Christians or people who profess to be Christians, and they're out robbing and stealing and bringing harm instead of the very word of God. You want revival? Then expect a social and a cultural change. Let us turn to 1 Samuel 7, 1 through 13. So the men of Joram, came to and took up the ark of the Lord. They took it to Abinadab's house on a hill and consecrated Eleazar, his son, to guard the ark of the Lord. It was a long time, 20 years in all, that the ark remained at Joram, and all the people of Israel mourned and sought after the Lord. And Samuel said to the whole house of Israel, if you are returning to the Lord with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of the foreign gods of the Asheroths, and commit yourselves to the Lord and serve him only. He will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. So the Israelites put away all their Baals and Asherah and served the Lord only. Then Samuel said, assemble all Israel at Mizpah, and I will intercede with the Lord for you. When they had assembled at Mizpah, they drew water and poured it out before the Lord. On that day they fasted, and they confessed, we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel was leader of Israel at Mizpah. When the Philistines heard that Israel had assembled at Mizpah, the rulers of the Philistines came up to attack them. And when the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid because of the Philistines. They said to Samuel, do not stop crying out to the Lord our God for us, that he may rescue us from the hand of the Philistines. Then Samuel took a suckling lamb, offered it up as a whole burnt offering to the